If you clicked on this video, then you have been clickbaited. But wait, before you click off this video, maybe that statement wasn't too accurate. If you're South African, I'm sure you're aware of the situation currently going on in our country. And if you're not, let me explain it to you. Basically, South Africa has been having long power outages, about 10 hours long this weekend. And before this weekend, we're still having power outages, but to a lesser extent. These continuous power outages have been happening for years now, and it's known as load shedding. So due to load shedding, I have not been able to stream at all. But me not being able to stream at all is not that big of a deal, as I only stream for a hobby. This crisis is a bigger issue for our country, a bigger issue than most imagine, and I'm here to talk about it with you today. But I'm not going to be doing this alone, as I've brought my friend, Mr. Adru the Councillor of Swane, to help us discuss this issue today. All right.
There we go.
Just make sure it's recording. So we are recording already, but don't worry, I can edit all this nonsense out.
Yeah, not to stress. Nothing in life is permanent.
Okay. Cool. Okay. How are you, Adru? First of all, how are you?
Oh, I can't complain. It's I'm just like every South African today. A bit traumatized. But other than that, we're very adaptable. So I think we can give that to ourselves. Very adaptable. And yourself, how's the man behind the camera doing? The man himself, the legend.
I'm good.
Are you great?
I haven't been able to stream or do much because of load shedding, but my problem's a very small problem.
Oh, it's your small business, right? So I think you and most South Africans are in the same boat. They say this load shedding is costing us about 10 billion rands a day. So just think about the damages it's doing to you and to all the businesses out there. So we are very much all in the same boat.
I checked the other day on the app, the Eskom app, and I think it said something like collectively. I just want to get the correct amount here quickly. We've had 1,000. I'll edit this in to show in the video. 1,658 hours of collectively of no power. That's nearly 70 days of no power.
Yeah, and I just timed that by 10 billion rands a day. You got almost 700 billion rands. It lost the economies there.
Yeah.
So it's shocking to say the least. And what is, I'll be frank. What's the most heartbreaking of all of this? It is the top management clearly seems to be not interested in the general well-being of South African economy and South African people. I'm asking you, how can this be acceptable?
But it's not. But I see. Okay, I feel like let's start from the beginning, right? What is the cause? Because what is the cause? Why is it such a big deal? Because you could say yes, there's pressure on the grid, whatever. All these words that not an average South African citizen is gonna know. They just don't understand why their power's out, right? So why?
Yeah, to uncover the ingredients in the cake, as you can say it. To go to the bottom of the root cause. Yeah, we have to dive a bit back. It's always good to take a bigger picture. Take it 2 steps back in life. To really get a greater understanding of our matters. But before I start, before we jump into the serious things, for me it's always funny, because for the audience out there who really doesn't know what load shedding is, it's quite funny. There's a guy, man, and he's got this wheel, this big wheel you spin. It's almost like you win the lottery. Those game shows. If you spin this and you land on the $500, you'll get that on a holiday. So the odds are in your favor. But when it comes to load shedding, the wheel they spin is Area 1 and Area 2, you'll have no power. So they do really live up to fate for us, like a cruel joke, to say the least. So what load shedding basically is, before we can get to the problem of this spinning the wheel to decide who's got no electricity, it's quite a historical cause. So what it is, load shedding basically means that certain areas, or you can break it down to municipalities, you can break it down to the electricity grid, because The electricity grid is what we're actually talking about, yeah. And what is the electricity grid? So how this works is our country, every country for that matter, every household. But to take it a bigger picture, we consume electricity for everything we do, right? And it consumes kilowatts of electricity. So what actually the root cause in South Africa is today we've got a problem. We cannot generate in enough electricity supply to reach equilibrium with the demand of electricity. So there's a major gap in the demand and the supply of electricity. But to go back, 20 years ago, Carlo, the ESCOM for that matter, which is South Africa's sole energy supplier and distributor thereof, is very much guided and very much a top-down approach, which which really begs the question, like, is this a viable method of continuing it? Like, to open up to renewables, like get alternatives, like have a top down approach rather than a bottom up, like let's flip the coin to see, because it cannot be acceptable that mismanagement and corruption has led Eskom in a matter of 10 years from a global energy supplier to a deficit energy supply producer for that matter. It is horrifying,
Yeah,
Carlo.
it is horrifying. I agree with you, Adru. But okay, I'm gonna go to my next question because obviously we don't have a lot of time, and we both know why we don't have a lot of time.
I know
We discuss
as
it
we say, we
as we
against
speak.
the
Yeah,
candle.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, kind of like, even I've got like candles next to me, You're so
We
traumatized,
already
man.
nearly out of candles. That's
I know.
like obviously candles aren't expensive, but like
It's like,
it's dumb, you know.
who knew we were going to be back in the Stone Age, like having a shortage of electricity and candles, like what's next? No wheels, So like, where's it going to
I
end up?
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay, you did touch on a better you did touch on it a bit at the beginning, but what's the short term and the long term impacts of businesses? Because as we've heard, load shedding is obviously probably going to get worse before it gets better
Yeah,
anytime soon, and already it's horrible. I mean, we both know Carl. He has been streaming. He has streamed with me a bit through Football Manager, and he works at Roots in Cosmo. And they've already spent a lot. I'm not going to say specifically, but an insane amount of money on diesel for generators
yeah.
alone. And not every company or business can afford a generator as well. So, what is to you working, in government? You're obviously more involved with this. You have a bigger idea of what the problem is. What is the short-term impact and the long-term impact on businesses?
Well, the short-term impacts. Let's start with this. Like it because load shedding fundamentally has devastating impacts. It doesn't matter if it's short term or long term. The effects are felt forever. And it comes like a problem that you can't actually make up any lost production. So if the longer it continues, the more the problem exponentially increases. So like it's like a snowballing effect. Like it starts off slow, but as time progresses, as these things continue, any lost time you had in terms of production or manufacturing, it doesn't really matter if you're a small business with 10 people or a medium to large enterprise with over 200 people working for you. The impact is similar. And what is actually interesting is many of our companies have like you said, in like the generators, right? So now the power goes off and people are fortunate, businesses are fortunate, not that they have any choice. Like they have to continue manufacturing, otherwise they have to close their doors. And right now, after a global pandemic and a global recession in 2008, like closing your doors is just not a viable option. Like you just cannot give up that easily. But the problem at hand is the supply. There's not enough supply. So what happens is, even if they have generators, there's still a switch in like a few seconds where the energy flow is actually harmful. And I've met many business people actually who complains about this, because now even if I got these generators, but that moment the power switches off and the generator kicks in, it has actually costed, especially in terms of robotics and automation, where even a millisecond is of a vital importance. That so whenever that power of a 2-3 millisecond dips in, that 1 second it costs 3-4 hours delays in starting up the whole process again. Never mind just cutting production. So load shedding, what it actually steals from it goes down to time, time in manufacturing, time in producing goods which we then export to other countries, goods which we consume in our economy. So the bigger and the long term impacts is on the short term. It impacts me and you. It impacts our ability, us going at home, having a small business. But in the long run, it impacts the whole economy because now the whole economy is going into production deficits. I hope that's given a bit more of a holistic or an overall picture of load shedding because it's always easy to go in and bash the people behind load shedding. It's always easy, but we don't uncover the problems. We don't dissect the corpse as we shall say because ESCOM is a corpse now. It's a dying SOE. It's a SOE who's been led into the demise of the ground, who's been ruined to the utmost destruction at the benefit of South Africans' well-being and South Africans' prosperity.
It's actually terrifying. I mean, because if businesses go down, people lose jobs. If people lose jobs, we have higher unemployment in a country already with very high unemployment. You know, we need to be creating more jobs, but currently, with something as simple as power, we're creating less.
Exactly, and this is like well, I'll tickle me your thoughts on this one, Cordo. Like this presents us as ordinary South Africans, as citizens of our country, right? As the people who's going to carve out the destiny of our own future, with a possibility to actually. But is this the right time to go off the grid? Is the time to actually look into renewables? Because we actually have a very unique pathway ahead of us. The foundation we lay today will really impact our generations and future generations. Because now we can kill two birds with one stone, as they say. So like, let's solve Eskom's problem, but also let's go renewable. Let's get renewable, green, sustainable energy sources of energy in place. Let's make this tradition. Let's be responsible global citizens. Let's be responsible South Africans for the matter, and look into the sustainability and the environment, but also our economy. See, as horrible as it is, I think it now is there is no better time than now to actually go into our renewables, change the game. As they say, shake the cat and then let the cat out of the bag. Like new times are ahead of us indeed.
So, we are actually, that was going to be my final question for us today, which is what it
Oh, I'm
is.
jumping the gun here.
No, no, no,
My
no, no,
apologies.
no. It's fine because we
I'm
can still discuss it more.
doing that, yeah.
But yeah, so
I
so you're saying
can
that.
be.
So my final
Yeah,
question was going to be, what's the solution, right? But how you're saying we must use renewable energy, but how can we use renewable energy? What is that step we must take to be able to fix this issue, if that makes sense? I know like there's solar energy, but you know, I know of places that ESCOM has cut out the power while they're busy installing solar panels. So
um,
they do still want a
it's a,
monopoly on it.
exactly like what you asked me really interesting questions now because if you go look at the city of Cape Town, like to maybe give your audience a more of a bigger picture. So like how they actually determine load shedding is they do it in stages, right?
Yeah,
We're currently on stage 5, ne?
yeah, we're on
Yesterday
stage
we were on
6.
stage
Yeah.
6. Yeah, but now we're back on 5, ne? But not for long, ne? Let's not jinx ourselves by saying how wonderful stage 5 is, like we might be back in stage 6 tomorrow and then 7 the day after we're unlucky. But what the stage has done is, like I explained earlier, so our current problem is our energy supply does not break equal our energy demand. So there's a shortfall, there's a deficit of energy production. So what the stages does, it actually try and balances out, like in ensuring that instead of a grid collapse, instead of where like all our grid just failed in, they actually structurally trying to manage the failing or the deficit of energy, try to spread it equally among the whole country. So the first thing, the way we dealing with it's sort of municipalities, Carlo. If you go look at the city of Cape Town, right? The city of Cape Town has actually the ability to migrate 2 stages of load shedding. Where me and you are sitting on stage 5 now, they're sitting in stage 3. So how did they do that? the municipality of Cape Town actually made themselves independent from the ESCOM grid. Because, like I said, like the ESCOM grid is it's a total grid over the whole country. So Cape Town actually went into agreement with some local SOEs, some local businesses, so like some local ideas, people among the community who's the major stakeholders in this electricity crisis, shall I say. And they said, what, let's work hand in hand, let's create a partnership, like let's see how we can together like deal with this because ultimately we are both suffering. Our economy is suffering, people are suffering, so they actually like manage to migrate to electricity. So like they've got renewables, also like they got hydro. So it's nice. So like the first solution lies with municipalities. Municipalities should take a leading action and leading charge in trying to mitigate, come up with their own source of energy production. I see Joburg is also like really pursuing in the roots of getting a independent power producer. The city of Tshwane recently we had a very interesting bill, but let's not speak about that one now. It was a really interesting bill, which paved the way to future success, shall I say, but it didn't quite hit the mark this time. So as you can see, these are very much things work in progress. Like it requires everyone, community stakeholders, academics, state officials, like entrepreneurs to work hand in hand to come to viable solutions. Like like for example, our municipalities in the Northern Cape can maybe focus more on solar, while municipalities close to the ocean can go hydro or wind power. So like you need pragmatic and holistic solutions to deal with Eskom crisis. There's no one shoe will fit all. And then again, for those of you whose thoughts might be pickled on this, is like nuclear energy. Do you think nuclear energy falls into the category of renewables? Ultimately, it pollutes a lot less than power, but it's got its implications. So like you got nuclear, you got renewables. There's always viable options and plans to be made.
Oh, thank you. Okay, well, okay, I think we're at the end now. I think we've learned a lot. Obviously, my goal with this wasn't to speak, but to listen, so that other people can
Mm.
listen, so they can understand. So how important is it for us, our generation, to go out and vote? Will a change in government be a bigger fix, not just for load shedding, but for tons of other issues in this country?
Conlo, I can say the following with sadness. South Africa is one of the murder capitals of the world. We're one of the rape capitals of the world. Like we are one of the most unsafe countries in the world. Like even our terrorism level, like is ranked among some of the most alert statuses. That at any time we can actually have a major terrorist attack. So we're also one of the only countries in the world with almost limitless open borders.
Mm.
So we've got a lot of challenges, we've got a lot of issues in South Africa. And it's like a pressure cooker. You can only put in so much in this pressure cooker before that lid's gonna blow off. And then my goodness, when that lid blows off, your whole kitchen will be full of meat. and that and that is not a scene to be seen, or to be hold of. So the 2024 elections, it cannot be of more importance. It cannot be of the uttermost, diremost importance for us as a youth, Carlo. We to take charge, to take lead for the future we want, for the South Africa we want. Because I'll be honest, this is a beautiful country, Carlo, and I don't want this country to fail. And I'm also sure I can speak for you on this matter that you don't want this country to fail. Look at the scenery we have. Look at the culture, the heritage. Never mind the foods. Carlo, I don't even want to speak about the foods in this country. The foods are next level. Like anyone who's never come to South Africa, don't worry. You can be in South African, you can have Indian and Portuguese cuisine. You can travel the whole world inside Africa. It's really a remarkable place. It's a country of rich heritage, rich history, and this is something that should be protected, should be cherished. So for us to go out and vote, we have to go out and vote to overthrow a corrupt system. And the matter of I always speak about the bigger picture because I'm a firm believer in that you always have to take a few steps backwards. If you go look at South Africa, we are a developing state, like, and developing states, they've got their problems, like corruption, unemployment, inflation, all these technical terms that sound of like diabolic nature to us. So So for us to really change this, for us to have the future we want, we have to take action and we have to take charge now. And it starts small. Small contributions go a long way.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you're not registered to vote yet for the 2024 elections, I encourage you, go to the IEC, make sure you are registered, and then go and vote. Because if you go look at the global picture now, like in local government, we're coalition governments, like in coalition governments are fascinating stuff, like a lot of countries around the world have actually went into the result of coalitions and how this has been interesting. But I want to leave you off on the following, Carlo, and I maybe give your audience a bit of a understanding. It's like we've sat here and we talked about ESCOM and South Africa's load shedding and this very taboo word of power outages. But if you go look at the world today, the globe is actually in an energy crisis. Go look at Germany, go look at Europe, look what's happening to the fuel prices there. It's skyrocketed. Like the UK has seen inflation levels of 34 years ago. Like that we really living in tough times. Like so let's keep strong. Let's hold hands together, and together we will prevail. Together we will come out on the other side stronger than ever before.
Thank you so much, Adru. Thank you.
Oh, you are most welcome, my
I hope
kind
you
sir. You are
enjoy.
most welcome.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for this interview. It was really good. Thank you.
Well, like no, anytime. Like as you say, we are used to drama. We are. There's a word where you actually become. Kind of just help me out, here, Carla. Don't leave me hanging. Like when people actually start developing like feelings for like kidnappers. Like
Oh,
when people are kidnapped and actually start falling in love with them. We got this relationship with ESCOM. Like we are very traumatized.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's like well, it's on your tongue, but you can't express it now. Ah, I'm gonna slap
I
myself
know
for
the
this
word.
one.
I can't
But
think
you
of
get
it
the idea.
either. Um,
Yeah, that one, that piece.
Stockholm? No, is it
It's in
Stockholm
that
syndrome? Or am I?
Stockholm
Yeah.
syndrome. Yes, Stockholm
Yes.
syndrome. So like most South Africans, you've got Stockholm syndrome of the ANC and Stockholm syndrome of ESCOM, and it's about time this changes.
100%. Awesome, Audrey.
But anyway, my champ, enjoy your stream, enjoy the rest of your day, and many blessings. Eh?
Thank you.
Many blessings, and thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Cool. Well, we'll definitely come on again. I'll definitely do something like this again. Cool. Cheers,
No,
cheers.
you must. I'll,
Okay,
I'll gladly
say
support.
bye.
Okay, cheers, ne?
Cheers, cheers. So obviously, besides this interview, I don't want my channel to become a political channel, but there's a lot of pressing issues in this country. And if there's one thing I do want to do, it's to help spread awareness, help, encourage change within the people in this country, within people in my age group as well. And hopefully this video will do just that. What does this mean for the future of my channel? Well, I'll still be streaming as often as I can. I'll be doing some vlogging, but if load shedding does still persist as badly as it is, I'll have to probably not stream as much and focus more on YouTube videos and like content creation. And I'm going to be vlogging soon. Comic Con Africa's this weekend, so I do want to vlog that. But yeah, I really hope this video gave you some insight what's going on. If you made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. And if you're wondering why the guy who plays Digimon is making a political video, just know that I will still be playing Digimon. So if you're confused to that, to my political stance here, still like and subscribe. There's still more Digimon videos coming, still more Alien videos, still more Football Manager and Multiverses, and a lot more other games coming out. I'm also going to be doing tabletop stuff very soon as well. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and peace.